One player at this World Cup covers more ground than any midfielder on the planet. He doesn't lead his team in goals. He doesn't lead it in assists. That ranking is wrong. Here's the data that proves it. They call him El Halcon, the Falcon. A name earned through play, not marketing. Ancelotti's most trusted midfielder. 2 Champions League titles. Every minute Real Madrid can give him. It's a strange kind of invisibility. Teammates and opposing coaches consistently rate him among the very best in his position. But the public rankings and the awards conversations rarely reflect it. 33 matches this season, 31 starts, over 2,700 minutes on the pitch. When a manager needs a player who simply does not stop, this is the name on the team sheet. That reliability isn't an accident either. 2 of the last 3 seasons, he's finished as Real Madrid's most used outfield player across every competition the club entered. The story the headlines tell is one thing. The story the numbers tell is different. This is that story. Start with the engine. Recorded top speed this season, 35.79 kilometers per hour. 33.79 kilometers covered on an average match day. Elite, even by professional midfielder standards. This is not one great game. This is a pattern. The same run. 3 different matches. And it doesn't fade. The sprints in the final 15 minutes read the same as the sprints in the first. Most players slow down as fatigue sets in. He doesn't. That's the part conditioning coaches actually obsess over. Not the peak number. The consistency of the number. Minute 90 compared to minute 1. This isn't a moment. It's a system. Now the number that actually separates him. 5 goals. 8 assists. 13 contributions this season. 41 tackles. 24 interceptions. 51 clearances. The same player at the other end of the pitch. Run the underlying numbers, and it holds up too. A non-penalty expected goals rate in the top 80% of the entire league from a player whose primary job isn't scoring at all. That's not a small sample fluke either. It's built on a full season of shot data, not 3 good weeks in the spring. Put those 2 ledgers side by side and the shape of it becomes obvious. This isn't a midfielder who occasionally helps out at the back or occasionally chips in at the front. Both numbers are genuinely elite at the same time, across a full season rather than a short hot streak in either direction. Find a midfielder in Europe who tops those charts at both ends in the same season while barely missing a match. The list is short. That's not a role. That's 2 roles, worn by one player. Output means nothing without control. 90.1% pass accuracy at over 50 attempts a game. It's not just short, safe passing either. Over 60% accuracy on his long balls. The diagonal switches that break a defensive line open, not just the ones that keep possession ticking over safely. Add in the key passes he creates most matches, and the picture is a midfielder who controls tempo at every range on the pitch, not just in the tight areas where possession is easy to protect. 51 shots taken this season. He scores once every 10. That's not volume shooting. That's precision. Run the fastest recorded speed in Europe, retain the ball at 90% under that physical load, switch play at range, and still finish with precision when the chance arrives. That combination is genuinely rare. Most players trade one of those qualities for another. The sprinters lose the ball more. The passers rarely cover this much ground. He isn't trading anything. That combination is where this argument actually starts. Here's the number nobody's citing. He can play central midfield. He can play right back. Ancelotti has trusted him in both in the same season. That's not a favor, and it's not squad depth improvisation either. It's a tactical weapon. A manager who can move his most reliable player into any gap the squad opens up without losing quality is playing with an advantage most teams simply don't have available to them. Across Europe's top leagues, almost nobody occupies 2 positions this different. Central midfield and right back demand almost opposite skill sets at an elite level simultaneously. Most complete midfielders play one exceptional role. He's rated as elite in 2 entirely different ones, and has the numbers from Evidence 2 to prove both are real, not just tactical trust dressed up as versatility. Find another midfielder in world football doing all of this at this level in the same 90 minutes. You won't. So why isn't he ranked like it? Here's the honest counter. Uruguay's 2026 World Cup ended at the group stage. If he's this complete, that's the question worth asking honestly. Individual numbers didn't translate into a result on the single biggest stage international football has to offer, and no amount of club-level data changes what actually happened on the pitch in that tournament. And it's not a small squad problem you can wave away either. Uruguay's depth around him doesn't come close to what he has behind him at club level, week to week. That's a real case. It's the one that will get made every single time this argument comes up, and it deserves an actual answer, not a dismissal. But a World Cup result measures a squad. It doesn't measure the player carrying more of that squad's load than anyone else on the pitch, match after match. Uruguay had one Valverde. Real Madrid's squad around him is built, year after year, to convert what he creates. That gap is squad depth. It is not a flaw in the argument. Move him into a system with the finishers, the creators, and the game management to match his engine, and the individual numbers translate into results almost every single time. It's the oldest pattern in international football. Put an elite club player into a thinner national squad and the individual numbers barely move. The results around him do. Judging a player's quality by his national team's tournament run has always been a shortcut, not a real measurement. And shortcuts are exactly what this episode has spent the last 12 minutes arguing against. Strip the shirt away, judge the player alone, and every single number from this episode still holds exactly where it started. Every argument in this episode points at the same conclusion. It's not one number. It's 4 of them at the same time, in the same 90 minutes, the fastest recorded sprint of any midfielder in the competition. A two-way ledger almost nobody else can match. Passing range at 90% under that exact physical load, and the positional trust to play 2 entirely different roles at an elite level. Any one of those 4 things alone would be a good stat. Together in the same season from the same player, they stop being a stat and start being a pattern worth paying attention to. That's rare. It's rarer than a goal count. It's rarer than a trophy count. And it might be the hardest thing in football to actually see, because none of it shows up on a highlights reel. Federico Valverde will not win the Ballon d'Or conversation this year. He will not trend the way a 30-yard strike does. But strip away who scores and who gets seen, and one truth survives every single match he plays. He does the work of 2 players in 2 positions, and he never stops doing it, from the first minute to the last. That's not underrated, that's undercounted.